Wonderful. Okay, so again, thank you for all for being here. The main reason we do a workshop in kind of a group setting is just to like cover kind of the bases in a general format. There's a lot of just like nitty gritty kind of stuff. And we've found in the past that trying to cover all of that information in a one-on-one appointment, plus covering all of your questions, just end up being really long appointments. We were running out of time. So we wanted to kind of cover that information here all together. As part of this workshop, as part of like the completion of it, we'll direct you to a form. We'll give you a QR code at the end, and you'll do a completion form. You'll just kind of acknowledge the information that we give you today. We also ask you to set some goals. So be thinking about that as we go through the workshop. It can like, we're very career minded here in the Huntsman School, but it can really be any types of goals as far as your academic success and progress, career goals, personal goals you might have. And we'll have you set like a short term, a semester, and a long term goal post graduation. So be kind of thinking about that as we progress. When those get submitted, they'll come to me, and that's when I officially sign off that you've completed the workshop, so you don't get the hold in March. And then you'll also receive a kickback email that will provide you with some like links and different things from what we talk about today. So you're welcome to take notes, but you also don't need to. You'll have that reference email at the end as well.
So what are you going to do?
I'll give you the QR code at the end today, but then you'll get an email back once you've submitted it. First, I want to introduce you to your team. We are your success team here in the Huntsman School. We're here as a resource to you, whether you have questions about your academic or career goals, and things like your progress towards any of those things. And we really just like want to be a resource and a reference point for you, so we can help guide you and direct you to kind of who might be the best person to talk to, or where might be the best place to start in certain things. So I'm Lindsay Kazair. I am the academic advisor. So my role is anything graduation, classes, major related, policies with the university. If you're worried about failing a class, your transcripts, things like that, you'll come and talk to me about those kinds of things. We are also in a transition with our office as well. We have a new advisor. His name's Tyler Iott. So he's in training right now. He'll be eventually taking over for me with some time. So you'll see both of us in the future as far as appointment availability. And then your career specialist is Nicole Barfus. So anything career related, anything that you can think of that's going to be regarding careers, whether that's looking for internships, resume reviews. If you'd like somebody to like help do like a mock interview with you and help you get ready for an interview, she'd be who you'd go to. Negotiating a salary when you come time that you're receiving a job offer, LinkedIn profile kind of stuff, and how to navigate LinkedIn, anything along those lines, she'll be a great resource for you. We don't do any walk-in or same-day appointments, so you do need to schedule ahead of time. This QR code will take you to our landing page for appointments, and the screen is divided. You'll see an academic advisor section and a career development section, and that's how you'll find either one of us for an appointment. With appointments, we just also want to make you aware of our appointment policy. If you are running more than 10 minutes late, we'll ask you to reschedule your appointment. That does come with a little bit of flexibility in my world. If you're like trying to find parking and it was hard and you're racing across campus to get there for your appointment, you give us a call at our front desk and just let us know, like, I'm on my way, I'm hustling, then I'll usually be pretty lenient and still take you for your appointment, even if it's a little after 10 minutes. So just with that, I really feel like communication is key, and just kind of letting us know where you're at in terms of your scheduled appointment. We also ask that you are just attentive and mindful to your student email accounts, your A-number email address. This is just where all official USU communication has to be sent. So we want to make sure that you're attentive to that, so you're not missing out on key and important information throughout your academic career. Also, as you're emailing anybody, really anybody at the university, me in particular, including your A-number is really helpful. It makes my correspondence with you a lot smoother, so I can make sure that I'm pulling up the right information for you, and providing the right answers to your questions. So just be mindful of that as well. This is kind of a new thing, and it may or may not be pertinent to all of you, but I'm going to touch on it really quickly. We have a new course that's called the Freshman Academy. This is intended for first-year college students. So whether your first semester was like last fall or this spring, it's essentially it's like an orientation to the Huntsman School, kind of getting students a little bit acquainted with like our culture, kind of what our goals and vision are for our students. You'll hear us say a lot, like, we really want you to own your education, and we also want you to dare mighty things. And we are really genuine in those, like, where we're coming from in those kind of like slogans, I guess you could call them. But we want you to be in the driver's seat as you're progressing through your education. We're trying to provide you with the tools necessary to help you get there. And this Freshman Academy is a little bit of a, like, an involvement almost kind of a course. They do different things. It's not just like a sit and lecture kind of a class. They'll bring in some speakers that are going to talk about ethical leadership, or they might talk about, ways that you can be an engaged member of your community and how you can make an impact, and kind of thinking about some of those more like almost like leadership style, leadership type things in conjunction with some of the hard skills that you're going to be getting through your classes. So it's just another resource that's here, especially for students who are getting their feet planted with college life. It's not like required for your degree requirements, but it is highly, highly encouraged and recommended. So like if, for example, this spring semester is your first semester, you could be looking to take this next fall. Or if this spring is your second semester, there is still a little bit of time that you could add the course if you haven't already. It's taught Friday mornings at 8:30, if it fits in your schedule. I'm going to go over some kind of just basics with your degree requirements. Overall, you need a total of 120 credits for graduation. We get fairly close with just what's built into the finance major with your generals and things like that. And so depending on your background, as far as what potential like dual enrollment credits you brought in, or AP credits, or if you've switched your major, you may have fewer or more just elective credit you need to help you get to that 120. So we just kind of take that as it comes, depending on where you're at. We'll kind of plan in some just free credits for you along the way. Of course, 100 of them need to be a C- or above. Upper division credits are 3,000 level courses or higher. So you need 40 credits out of that 120. We'll take care of that with what's built into the finance major. So that's one you don't need to think too hard about. For the general education, those 30 credits, that's like kind of your typical standard set of courses towards like an associate's degree. That's going to be pretty consistent nationwide. The depth education, however, is more university specific. These are course requirements that are going to build off of your general ed requirements and just take it one step further. And these ones will be at the 3,000 level, those types of courses as well. We have a little bit of overlap with the gen eds and the depth requirements that we'll plan in there, and then kind of steer you towards the ones that are extra that you need to be finding on your own and selecting a course on your own that will meet those requirements. I'm going to jump down to the last point. We look at a 2.5 GPA for graduation. There's a section in DegreeWorks that I'll show you where we kind of track your major specific GPA, because that, like, the specific GPA you're getting with your major classes is something we look at in addition to your overall and USU specific GPA. With your major, so the major itself is kind of comprised of business acumen, which we look at like they're the gen eds of the business school. You're getting a little bit of everything en route to your specialization. So all of these classes need a C or better, plus your finance specific courses. And then the exception to that are the two finance acumen courses, the 3,200 and 3,300. Those we require a B- or better. And then, yes, I'll talk about this now. In the past, we created a course. It was called Finance 2000, Careers in Finance. We had it a part of our degree requirements for a minute, and then we took it off. But they did record the lectures from that class and put it into a Canvas page as like a resource for students. So the purpose of that class was to help students kind of explore some different career paths within finance, learn more about the industry and kind of what's out there. So where we don't have that course anymore, it's not a requirement, it's not being taught. If you are interested in being added to the Careers in Finance Canvas page and watch back some of those recorded lectures we've had from past years, let me know. You can let me know at the end of this workshop. You can throw your name or a number or whatever into the chat on Zoom, and I can send you a link to get added into that Canvas page if you're interested. So just kind of an extra resource there. While I'm thinking about it, I'll let you know. So now we're gonna spend a little bit of time in DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks really is a wonderful tool. It takes some getting used to. I live and breathe in DegreeWorks, so it's easy to navigate. So I'm going to share some like tips and tricks for you. Because it's like a master checklist for your degree, I find that the better you're able to understand and interpret what you're seeing in DegreeWorks, the more confident you'll feel through your degree progress, because you'll know what's kind of upcoming and how to progress to your degree. And then basically we'll kind of just like touch base and just make sure that things are on the right track and that you're progressing well. So let me find my friend Joey. And then I'll just show you some things like kind of little like identifying points that are important to just notice, make sure that things are all checking out for you. So at this top section, it lists like your majors and any minors you have. So if you are taking classes towards, especially like minors, I feel like students don't get that declared as like, or they don't necessarily always know that they need to declare a minor. So if you are taking classes towards a minor, let's make sure we get that declared officially so it's a part of your degree and that we've got those requirements locked in. We have a tendency here in the Huntsman School to make changes to our program requirements from year to year. More often than not, they're fairly minor changes, but we do occasionally have bigger changes. We had a pretty big change fall of 22, which has ruffled my feathers a little. But like we do a lot of grandfathering with some changes if you're locked into your requirements. If you're not locked into requirements, but you're following an old set of requirements, then that may throw you off your progress. So it's better to get something declared. It's easy to drop it or move things around with time if you decide to change what you're studying. So that's also where like this catalog year comes in. That's like the year that you were admitted to the program. So that would be the year set of requirements that you're admitted under, based off of any potential changes that could occur. Of course, you've got like your USU GPA is tracked right here. Your cumulative GPA will be tracked down here. And then I'm going to hurry and do a what if so I can pull up and have us see what's important, the finance major. And also DegreeWorks, like I see the exact same thing on DegreeWorks as you do. So like, there's a lot of different like functions and features that you're able to use if you are exploring some like a double major or a minor. You can use this what if feature to kind of see what that would look like if that was officially declared on your in your account. While I'm up here, degree progress percentages. The requirements one is a little bit interesting. When you are registered for your last set of classes for your last semester, it will stop at usually 97 or 98%. So that's a good sign for me. It usually means that everything's all in place and in order for your last semester, and then it will finish going up to 100% once your grades get posted at the end of your final semester. So just a heads up there, it can be a little bit alarming for students when they're like, oh, I thought I had everything and it says 98%, but that's a good thing actually. As you scroll through, of course, you'll see here at the top, this will keep track of your credits as you register. So it's pulling in like your current in progress classes. When we get to the point where we're registering for fall classes, it will also pull those like pre-registered like upcoming semester classes in there. So it'll affect like your credit totals a little bit as well. This is also something important to know too when it comes to like registration. Your registration time is based off of your completed credits. So where DegreeWorks is already calculating this semester's credits in your overall like totals, it can throw students off a little bit with when their actual time for registration is. So just be mindful of that you'll want to like deduct how many credits you're in for the fall from that total we're in spring semester right now. You can deduct those current credits so you can get your accurate credit count for your registration time. And then as you scroll down, like when you get to the major section, this is where we'll track and watch your major GPA and just make sure that that's all in line with where we need it to be. Again, general electives, those are going to be classes that aren't applying to something specific in your major. So for some students, they may only end up in 10 or 15 elective credits. Some need 30 plus. It just really depends on what you're pursuing. While I'm here, a couple other little tools. Up here in the top right-hand corner, these three dots, there's a class history tool, and this is just basically like a simplified version of your transcript, which is really handy if you are like want to double check that we've got all your transfer credits on hand. You can always check there, or if you wanted to like double check a grade you got, or if you've taken a class and you just want to make sure you're not like repeating a class for no reason, things like that, you can always kind of scroll through here and make sure things look good. Also back here with those three dots, the GPA calculator. There's some different options where you can kind of see where you're at and also make some kind of projections with your GPA. I use the advice calculator the most, but the graduation calculator and advice will basically do the same thing. So this is where you can, it should auto-populate your current GPA and credits. Usually it plugs in your in-progress credits, so you will probably want to deduct those as well. So it's just like your completed credits. But then you can tell it what your desired GPA is. So whether you're working on making sure your GPA goes up to a 2.5, or you're trying to retain a certain GPA for a scholarship, this will give you like averages of what you need to be, like how you need to be trending from semester to semester over a certain span of credits, at like a B+ average or a A- average. And so you kind of see what's doable based off of your kind of what you have remaining to complete. Similar, the term calculator will populate your current classes. So then you can kind of see like where you're at currently with your grades. You can plug those in and say, oh, if I retain these current grades that I'm in, this is the outcome it would put with my GPA at the end of the semester. So that's another nice little tool. You can kind of track and gauge where you're at as the semester progresses. Last but not least, the plans feature. This functions like Google Drive. So as I create plans, it'll show up like automatically on your side, it saves periodically on its own. So it can be a collaborative space. I can create a plan, you can make some edits to it, or vice versa. It's nice because I'll just use this one. This left-hand column will give you some different options of like ways to add to your plan. And I love that they have a still needed section. So it'll show your classes that are still showing as needed. And then you can just drag and drop them into the plan. You can add semesters and whether you're going to take summer or not, or kind of decide that and start to move things around and bring them in. As like another kind of reference point, so you can also kind of interpret what's going on in my brain. When I make plans for you, there's 18 credits worth of finance electives that you'll need for the major. I always use a placeholder. So it'll look similar to this. It will say FIN or FIN elective. Just to like represent like saying, hey, let's pick an elective course this semester and be making progress for those electives. And I'll do similar, they will look similar for any like breadth or depth gen ed requirements. And then there's one that says GE elect, if I'm just saying we need elective credit just to help you get to your 120. So interpretation wise, that's kind of what that's going to be saying and what that's representing. Yeah. Oh, and then if you are kind of exploring potential like dual major or a minor or something, this save as copy feature will just duplicate a plan that you already have. So something I often do is I'll create a base plan for your major. And then as you are considering potential minors or double majors, so you can kind of see what that big picture looks like, what would I be getting myself into if I were to pursue a double major, for example. I don't have to start from ground zero to create those kinds of plans. I can whip out several plans in just a few minutes using the save as copy. You can also use the audit feature with your plan. When you click audit, it will plug your plan into the worksheet of DegreeWorks. So you can kind of see and make sure that everything is showing up as satisfied based off of what you've thrown into your plan. Because you're also welcome with the plans that I create as you're preparing for registration. You can always click here and edit the requirement and say, okay, for this elective, I'm going to take, I'll do a finance class since we're finance friends. I'm going to take finance 3,500. And then that way, if you do that audit, then it will pull the finance 3,500 in where it's supposed to go. And you can double check that it is an elective that will count for your major. Any questions about DegreeWorks? Anything that you're like, I don't understand? What is this? Great. I will close that. Jump back over here. Okay.
When is registration for?
Fall registration will be the second week of April. And then summer registration opens up the latter half of the week before it. So if anybody is considering summer classes that has just a little bit of a head start to fall semester registration. Minors in the Huntsman School, of course, you don't have to only pick programs in the Huntsman School. We won't be offended. You can take a psychology minor, double major with math and stat, and that's totally great. But these are some of the minor options that we have available here in the Huntsman School. Couple of notes, just to be aware of if there are things that are of interest to you. The personal financial planning minor and the real estate minor, at least when you're just doing like one of them and not both of them, they're basically built into the major. So those minor courses will also work towards your major elective credits. So you're not adding any additional credits to do one of those two minors, if that's something like if it's a career path you're looking at. Really the only minor that's off limits on our Huntsman list is the business minor. It's like an abbreviated version of the acumen. So where you're already in that for your major, we don't let you do the business minor. There was something else that I was thinking about. I only have ownership and authority over business classes and programs. So if you ever did need like a prerequisite override, or you're looking to add a program outside of the business school, you'll need to talk to those advisors directly. I don't have the authority to like override a math prerequisite to help you get into a math class, things like that. There was something else that I was going to mention. It was a good one too. Minors. Hopefully it will come back to me. I'm gonna go slow and I might end up interrupting Nicole. This wasn't it, but another thing I thought of. With our major, we do allow you, if you have an internship that's like related to finance, we do allow you to get intern credit for your internship that can be used towards the major. So we'll let you use up to get up to 3 credits towards the major. And that's just like an approval process that you'll work with me on to get approved for credit. So, and then I have to unlock the course for you to register. So keep that in mind if you do have an internship opportunity. Of course, that's a great resume builder, but also something that can help you in your degree progress, which is nice. We can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's gonna drive me crazy. Okay, before I turn the reins over to Nicole for the fun half of the workshop, just want to make you aware of our like resources. We have a team of student mentors. We house them at our start desk, which is here on the main floor, in between Huntsman Hall and the Eccles Business Building. They're there Monday through Friday, 9 to 2. They're trained with things both like academic questions, but they're also trained with like resume reviews. So if you did ever have like, if you're in business communications and you need your resume reviewed for class, they can help you with that. And then of course, any like major requirement kind of questions. And then we also, of course, you can always walk into our main office in EBB 309 and ask any questions there at the front desk, especially if you're got a random question or you feel like you've got an urgent question, you can check there at the front desk if you aren't able to get in to see me in a timely manner. So just a heads up there with that resource as well. And I'll apologize ahead of time to Nicole because I'll probably interrupt her when I remember my thing, but I'll turn the time over to her.
Hey, as she said, we'll get more into a little bit of the fun stuff, but also, I don't know, maybe not so much fun because it does require some participation. So have you guys heard of the SEED program? Yeah. Any of you interested in doing the SEED program? Not sure yet? You don't remember what it is? Okay. It's gonna do that thing.
Sorry.
To me. Okay, so the SEED program is basically, you can take a semester and you go to maybe like Mexico, or what are some of the other places that we had? Philippines, yeah.
We had like some like cooperative type programs set up in certain locations, kind of third world country type areas.
And basically, and you said it's actually not very expensive for them, right?
They'll give you a stipend that basically like it should help, if not cover like your flights there. They provide housing. I think a lot of like your meals are covered. You might have to pay for some of your own meals. But really it's like for the most part, it's like a low cost out of your own pocket for you. So.
And the fun thing is you get to go and you get to help people in other countries that may be wanting to learn how to start their business or help their business grow. And you're going to go in there and you're going to help them. You're going to teach them, you're gonna look at their processes, and then hopefully the goal is that within about a year, for them to double their income. So you're using the skills that you're learning here, and you're going and you're helping these people who then are going to help create a better life for them. So it's awesome because you get to practice your skills and what you're learning. You get to help someone who would never have the opportunity that you have. And that's a great thing to put on your resume. The experience it gives you, the cultural experience, all that fun stuff is definitely a positive for you from your career on out. It also, I had something else with that. Oh, it's like I mean, this is something, once you guys graduate, these kinds of things are really difficult to do. And when you're in school and you do have some potential funding available for you, it is the time to do it if you can. All right. So we're going to talk about the Huntsman Canvas course page. So you guys are all signed up for this class. You just probably got a notice today. I saw there was another email that was basically saying, hey, make sure you're doing your stuff, right? So basically what this is it's only for this one semester. You don't get credit for it, but if you don't attend or at least do the QR code with your goals on it, you don't get credit for that, and there'll be a hold put on your records. So we're trying to avoid that, which is why we've offered this class several times to make sure we can catch everyone, because we want you guys to understand what is available to you, what resources are out there. And that's what the Huntsman course is for, to show you all those fun things. Did you pull that up? I did. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we're going to watch this real quick.
Hello and welcome to the Huntsman Experience. My name is Jenny. I'm a current marketing major here in the Huntsman Business School, and I'm also a peer mentor for the FJ Management Center for Student Success. The Huntsman Experience is a gamified course that connects incoming Huntsman students like yourself to opportunities and resources that will jumpstart your time at USU and help you to dare mighty things inside and outside of the classroom. Employers are looking for individuals with the right soft skills, such as critical thinking, teamwork, and leadership. These can be pretty overwhelming to try and develop by yourself. That's why the FJ Management Center for Student Success created the Huntsman Experience. Through the Canvas course, you can start developing these skills, also known as competencies. The Huntsman Experience will guide you through activities, earning points along the way that will prepare you to ask yourself an important question. How does what I'm doing help me get ready for my career? Some events may correlate directly, such as a workshop hosted by your dream company, while others may be more transferable, like being a treasurer for the archery club. In the end, all of your experiences can and will help you develop your career competencies. It's simply about being intentional with your engagement and knowing how to communicate the value of your experiences. This may sound complicated, but that's why we're here. So take the next step in owning your education and click the Start Your Experience link to learn more and to start earning points. And as always, go Aggies.
All right. So she said it's a gamified course. So the stuff that you complete goes to one of our other career coaches, Elise. She will then give you points for it. And there's basically a leaderboard. If you guys see those TVs that are in the EDV, I don't know if there's some in here. Throughout the building, there will be a list of your name and your points if you're up there. And whoever the winner is, do they just do one winner?
We do like
several of
every
them?
couple weeks, like our top leaders, we give you a portfolio, which is actually really nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to like put your
Is that
resume
statement?
in.
Yeah, they're really nice. I saw some over at the campus store, and yeah, I was like, wow, those are really nice. And it's really just for participating in things that are going to help you along the way. All right. The next thing we're going to discuss is the Dare Mighty Careers page. So let's go quick every single time. Why that's what's doing. Okay, so you also should be signed up for the Dare Mighty Careers Canvas course. which is basically a resource for you to get your resumes, to brush up on your cover letters, what the information is on networking. It's basically a spot for you to go to have these resources at your fingertips. Each week, you'll get one today. I send out an email that has the upcoming events. And it also has highlighted things like internships, jobs that are available, special announcements that we might want to have. I try and just keep it to one a week because I know if you're in other clubs, you probably get other ones. And sometimes they like to send them out every time they get a new thing. I just send it out once a week. On that one that we're really highlighting right now, is anybody doing the mock interview? Anybody signed up for that? So this Friday, it's called Focus Friday. I'll go to this one right here. We have an event where we've got 21 businesses that have signed up to come and just do mock interviews. And that's something you can do from your home. You can just, as long as you have a laptop with a camera on it, you basically are just going to practice your interviewing skills. Say you think that you might want to work with Zions Bank down the road. Well, Zions Bank will be here. You can set up an interview with them. It's like a 15-minute interview and they will give you feedback. So you want to be prepared, like pretend like it's a real interview. Go look like you're going for an interview.
Make sure the background on the Zoom is
Yes.
appropriate as well.
Blur it, don't have your
Closet wide open.
Yeah. Or your people doing something in the background, your roommates, what was that thing called? Do you have like people beyond something? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So just be careful with what's going on there. Just think of it like it's a real interview because these businesses are doing this taking time out of their day to help you prepare and develop. And that's the whole thing is they want to help you develop. I think a good chunk of them are alumni that they are doing this because also not just that, but sometimes that means that you can make connections there and part of your networking. If you do an interview with someone that you're like, maybe eventually I might want to work with them. What's their name? Connect with them on LinkedIn. And maybe down the road, when you're getting ready for that, or you want an internship and you know there's one there, you connect with them and say, hey, I just wanted to ask you some information. I did an interview, whatever it is. So that's the point of it. It's not just you going and getting experience, it's networking. Networking is key to what you do here. It's not just about getting your degree. You've got to network, you got to prepare for that next step. So that all this hard work you're doing right now is for a purpose. So we have lots of cool things. Sometimes every other week, sometimes every week. There's a Focus Friday event. We just had Dana Sabo,
Sure.
I didn't say their name.
Sure.
the athletics director, talk last week. And it was so good, so good. So much really great information of things that she's learned on her path. We've got other, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Those get recorded as well. So you can go back onto the John M. Huntsman School of Business YouTube channel and look back at archived events. We've had some really amazing speakers come from different backgrounds. So it's just kind of cool to just absorb some of the things that they've learned from their experience and their time in an industry or just as professionals, whatever the case may be for them. So it's just really enlightening. It's it's a nice low pressure opportunity to have some professional development without necessarily having studying for a test tied to it or a homework assignment tied to it. I mean, some professors may give you extra credit or something for it, but it's just a low pressure opportunity to just be learning from other people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And networking, really. Somebody's telling you their story about how they got going and something might inspire you and what path might be more beneficial for you. So there's not just those, there's lots of other fun stuff that you guys can get involved in. We've got, Women in Finance are having a panelist come. It's not just for women. They're inviting all genders, but we've got 4 women from other businesses that are coming to talk about, there's some from data, analytics, and finance. So these are not your investment business ladies. These are other ones, but they can definitely give you some good information. They're there to connect with you. They're there to help teach you. So take advantage of those. If you're wondering where they are, you can look at the calendar for the Huntsman. Also, that email that I send out should have that on there. We also have great opportunities that, goodness, I always forget the name of that one.
The global learning
Global,
programs.
yes, thank you. Can
Yeah.
you- Yeah, go ahead.
So there's also other opportunities, so like SEED is a semester-long like internship, and they go fall, spring, summer. These global learning programs are more like week and a half, 2 week kind of trips, but they are like business trip kind of minded. They do visit companies at the different locations you go to. We've traditionally gone pretty regularly to like London, to Paris and Marseille. They're doing a trip to Rome this summer for the month of May, and students can take Accounting 2020 during that month while also exploring Rome. They've gone to like Peru, and they'll like, they call it Seed XP, and they like go and kind of like hang with the seed cohort that's there for a little bit. Just kind of see what they're doing and help kind of get involved for a minute as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to like travel. We also have an opportunity scholarship. You can receive it up to 2 times during your academic career. And that scholarship covers a pretty hefty chunk of the trip. So it helps make it a little bit more affordable to go. We do 1 trip, I believe, during spring break, and then the others typically happen like right after spring semester is over. So for that like first little bit of May. So definitely look into that. I know like our deadlines and stuff for this upcoming spring have passed. They set the deadlines typically for like mid-November.
Yeah,
Just so that they can make sure like if any students have been accepted to the trip that don't have like a passport yet, then they've got the time to do that. So if that is something on your radar, I'd also say just like, and you don't already have a passport, like, go ahead and get a passport because they
Yeah.
are good for 10 years. So.
and they do passports at,
Oh,
the
Carver
TSC.
office, I think.
yeah, they do. So they'll do passport stuff for you there. So that's great. So other things are clubs that you join. You might be going and doing some competitions. Those, again, great experience for you. Awesome thing to put on your resume because it shows you're involved. It shows that you're a go-getter, that you're someone that gets out there, and companies really like to see it, especially the companies that you guys potentially might be going into, because they want people that are go-getters, especially if you're doing, because this is finance or is this econ? Finance. Okay. Do you guys have any idea of what direction you're going yet? No. What are you thinking?
Real estate.
Real estate. Nice. Okay. Great. So I'm not sure. They just started a real estate
We have a real estate
club.
association.
So I don't know if you're part of that. I would suggest it. Do you know where to find those? So let me, I'm gonna click out of it real quick.
The far right one.
There we go. Okay, so if we go to students, right? Student clubs. So this is just the Huntsman. So like if you're here, the main page,
Okay.
students,
Okay.
student clubs.
That's easy.
And there's lots of them. All you have to do is just click on it and basically say that you want to sign up for it. I would suggest that you all get into a club that's really focused towards your emphasis. Last night, we had a personal financial planning club meeting, and they had someone from a business that is pretty well known. I can't tell you what it is because I've never heard of them, but to them, they all knew, and it was a big thing. But this guy came. I'm still learning myself. But I learned so much just from that well, it was probably like 45-minute thing that he taught us about personal financial planning. So connections that you make in those, connections with your fellow students that potentially are looking for the same thing that you are. Maybe somebody graduates, goes somewhere, and you're like, hey, let's connect. Also serving on what they call it, the board or the leadership, whether you're president, secretary. When you join a club, on your resume, we're gonna have you put it up. If you're just in the club, we're gonna have you put it up with your education. However, if you serve in a leadership position, that goes down in your volunteer experience. It's highlighted a little bit more. So that's always good to do. Sometime throughout your career here, your time here at USU, I would suggest doing that if you can. It gets you really connected well with the advisor, the faculty member that is over that can also help you find connections and give you advice. So there's so many avenues. I'm here to do that too, but there's so many other people here we're all here to support you guys and get you ready for that next step. All right. And of course, you know, if you haven't become a true Aggie, there's always that too. It might be more interesting than anything else we've discussed today. Okay, your story matters. What this is basically is it's us asking you about to share your good experiences, your positive experience, things that have really had an impact on you so that we can take that story and we can share that with other students, because hearing that from another student just means a lot more than just like us saying, oh yeah, students have a great experience here. But if we're hearing from you and we're using that to say, hey, students are really enjoying this. We're having some positive things. Professors are great here. We have great programs. That's where we ask, please share. We have some really great comments on just the seed. If you go to the seed section, you'll see students that have put stuff in, or even a video. It could just be something you wrote out. It could be a video. It could be, I don't know what else.
Yeah, really anything like, if you
Yeah.
had an impactful, like, mentoring relationship with a faculty member,
Yeah.
or you enjoyed a particular class and a professor, or whatever, you can share that and let other students know about it too.
We all like to read reviews, right? That's a great way to help us. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is dreaming big and setting goals. So part of this class today, at the very end of it, we're going to have a QR code. She may have already told you this. That's going to have 3 goals. It's going to have a goal in the next 1 to 4 weeks, a semester goal, and a long-term goal. So hopefully you've been kind of thinking about it. When we go to that section, we're just going to ask you to, if you want to stay for a couple of minutes and finish it up so that it's done, because once that's done and sent in, you're free. You're good as gold. You don't have to worry about any hold on your transcript. However, if you choose to wait and do it later and you forget, then it might be a little bit more.
I'll keep
Sure.
pestering you.
She will, and you know, you don't need that.
You don't need to
You
be
don't need that.
pestering them.
Just get it done today if you can. So the importance of setting goals. Why is it important to set goals? Well, how did you get here? You obviously set some goals in school. You set some goals with what school you want to go to. You had goals that you needed to achieve to even apply for USU. So there's always a reason to set goals. In order to get to where you want to go in life, you have to have a plan. Sometimes we think we can just coast and I'll just let it kind of carry me. But let me tell you, if you coast and you let just kind of this experience that you're having at USU and you're not really engaging, you're just getting your coursework done, when you get to the end of it, you're gonna be like, oh, you mean I needed to take an internship like my sophomore year? Yeah. Oh, you mean I want to do investment banking? It's too late. You're gonna have to stay for another couple of years, because investment banking, you gotta jump into that sophomore year. You gotta do 3 internships. It's pretty intense. So knowing what you're going into, what it looks like, even if you change your mind, that's totally okay. We all, you know, I changed my mind when I was going to school, and I changed my degree and said, no, that's not what I want. That's okay. That's part of life. But you've got to reset those goals too. Make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to get to that end result. If you're not setting goals, you might get there. It might be more difficult, and you might miss out on a lot of good things on the way. All right. No, wrong way. So when you're setting your goals today, we ask you that you set a goal that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And the reason why we ask you to do that is because if you just say, I don't know, what's a really easy goal? I want to make new friends. Great, that's really broad, really open. There's not really that's a really easy one to miss. But if you said something like, every time I walk to class, I want to make a new friend. That's pretty cool. Like, or maybe in the morning on my way to class, I'm gonna chat with someone. Or I'm going to talk to each one of my professors and get to know them, have them get to know me. I'm going to attend a Focus Friday event this semester. I'm going to attend maybe 2 of them. I'm going to make at least 5 connections on LinkedIn with people outside of Utah State. So those are all really great goals. Long-term goal after graduation. It might be that you want to go work on a cat farm. I don't know. And you want to spend a semester learning business for a cat farm because you love cats. Great. Maybe you go do that and then you move on to something else. I don't know. It just depends. We've had some really great stories of people that set goals for what they wanted to do. And because they had that in mind, when they graduated, they went and did it. And then they moved on to the other things. But taking that time to say, what do I really want? Because right now you think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You get to be my age and you're like, I really wish I was more intentional. Because there's opportunities as you get older that you lose. Or are more difficult to do. So I encourage you, set the goals, get some things in mind of things that you want to experience, get you a bucket list of at least 10 things, and then what are you gonna do to work towards it? It can be school stuff, or it can be your career, or it can just be like, I wanna go skydive off the tallest building in London. I don't know. So probably wouldn't do that there, but I don't think they've got a lot of tall buildings. Maybe go visit, what is that one in the tallest building in the world? Does anybody know which one that is? Say again? Yeah, pretty cool. It was really cool on New Year's Eve, just gonna say. I watched the fireworks on that. Super cool. All right. What's next? Here is your QR code. So this is your cue. Pull that up, get that thing done, and then make your goals today. We will stay a little bit after if you have any questions for us, but please take some time, think out those goals, write them out. We will.
And you're welcome to leave at any point.
Yeah.
This is the end of the
Yeah,
workshop.
this is the end. So thanks you guys for coming today and catching the last one we're doing.